Welcome to Mastering the Next, a cutting-edge podcast that explores the future of graduate, online, and non-traditional education through the lens of AI and technology. I'm your host, Dr. Ray Lutsky, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Element 451. Join me every 2 weeks for discussions with some of the thought leaders shaping the future of graduate enrollment management through technology. Mastering the Next is a part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform that helps institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. For more than 30 years, NAGAP, the Association for Graduate Enrollment Management, has been a leader in the professional development and advancement of its members. As one of the most influential thought leaders in graduate enrollment, admissions, financial aid, and more, NAGAP has developed a track record of excellence and collaboration through education, research, and professional development. Today, I'm joined by two key members of the NAGAP Board of Directors, Fran Reed, Vice President for Enrollment Management and Marketing at Neumann University, and Keith Ramsdell, who serves as the Vice President for Enrollment Management and Marketing at Ashland University. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
So I want to ask, with growing educational programs, collaboration on the new book out from Routledge, which we've talked about on this podcast, from your perspective as board members and senior leaders in graduate enrollment management, what's next for NAGAP?
Well, I'll jump in first, Ray, because as you know, and Fran certainly knows this as well, my key area in NAGAP is partnerships. And this is something that we've been focused on. You know, it's not a new thing. It's something we've been focused on for several years now. But I think that as we look out over the landscape of higher education, what we're learning is no school, no organization, no, for-profit partner, none of us can survive in this landscape as an island. We have to join hands. We have to figure out a way to build bridges. We have to partner in ways that we never have before to support one another. And that's part of the reason that we're all here. This is one of the largest GEM summits in our history. And I think the primary reason for that is we have a lot of colleagues out there desperate for answers, desperate for help. And, we all come together once a year to see if we can do that to support one another.
Absolutely. I agree with Keith. And I think as we go into this next kind of chapter, and as I come in as vice president on the board, I think one of the opportunities we have is to really look at our strategic plan and figure out kind of what is that next step for us. And, as Keith indicated, this is one of our largest summits that we have. We have a lot of new members as well. And what we're finding in our membership is people are coming from all different directions. Some have been in the graduate space. Many are kind of thrown into it. And so really providing opportunities for our membership to expand and grow, to network, is really going to be important. And I think with the pressures that undergrad is feeling and has been now for a while, and then all the stuff that's happening with the Department of Education and so forth, all these different pressures are coming down. I think it's really important that we take the time to educate our membership on what's coming ahead.
And that's always been a hallmark of NAGAP in terms of lifting folks throughout the profession and finding opportunities for folks to grow. You've launched a number of programs that really focus on key areas. I'm curious how that's going with programs like the Leadership Academy and other ways that NAGAP is fostering professional development for its members, particularly those new members that you're talking about who make up a large attendance here at this conference.
Absolutely. So we're just wrapping up our Leadership Academy, and our cohort will be presenting their poster presentations tomorrow. And so we're really excited for that. I've had an opportunity to meet some of that cohort. One of them is a personal colleague of mine at Neumann, and from her experience, she said it was such a tremendous opportunity to not only learn a little bit more about GEM, but really connect with others that are kind of in similar positions and trying to grow in leadership roles. And so I think that that's kind of a very unique cohort of individuals that get to participate in that. And then, of course, we've got the advanced professionals as well as the early professionals that now we've decided to kind of group together on the PDI. They will have separate sessions, but opportunities to also come together as a group. And so I think it's always a good idea to bring individuals that have been in the field for a while to connect with those that are coming in. Because what we're seeing is there's a huge gap right now kind of in middle management, for lack of a better word. So you've got individuals coming in, some people just not staying in higher ed any longer, unfortunately. And then individuals like Keith and ourselves who have been doing this for quite some time, would rather not put a year on it, but there's in between. And so it's a little scary, to be honest, not knowing that there'll be somebody coming behind kind of pushing us in the profession forward.
One of the things that I'd add to that is that, NAGAP over the last several years has also realized that, our focus for a long time was on the younger GEM professional, maybe in that first 5 years, maybe up to 10 years of their careers. We were not honestly doing a very good job of addressing the needs of some of the mid to upper level management, those who have been around the profession for maybe 10 plus years, 15 plus years. So a couple of the things that we've done there, one is a monthly webinar, a leadership webinar that Marcus Hanscom and I started a number of years ago. And once a month, usually the second Tuesday of every month, we pull together industry experts from across the country to just talk about what is the state of our industry and what are some things that we can do to address, again, leadership issues, things that will impact the industry from a higher level. And every month, we're getting 30, 40, 50 people on a regular basis to attend that. So we know that there's a need for that. The other thing that we've done, and we've done this for a long time, is our mentorship program. But the thing that I find that's unique about it is that, again, it used to be really focused on those who had come in relatively recently to the industry, maybe within the last year or two. The last two people that I've mentored are mid-career, looking for advice on how to go to the next level or on how to deal with very specific issues that are challenging them right now. And that for me has been a thrill. I'm certainly happy to work with somebody who's new to the profession, but if there's somebody with 15 years of experience, 20 years of experience who's trying to figure out what that next step is, that's something that I would love to be able to assist someone with as well.
Yeah. And I also want to add, for the first time ever, we offered a GEM forum back in December. It coincided with CGS conference. First time we did it, and it was a very kind of unique opportunity where we did issue processing. So it was definitely geared to advanced professionals, director kind of level and above, that were looking for a chance to connect with other individuals kind of at that level to talk through issues, essentially. So it was a half-day session where Tony Frigga and myself actually led it. And we had over 25 individuals there from all across the country, and they had an opportunity to kind of put their issue on the table. And so, of course, we didn't get through all of them, but we went through a number of them. And of course, a lot of us have things that kind of overlap, but it was a great opportunity to kind of be in the hot seat for a second and really have your colleagues kind of present new ideas and challenges. And so the feedback we got from that was tremendous. And so it was a pilot program. I think we may explore doing something like that again, but that also goes to kind of addressing some of the needs that our membership has as well.
And that's really interesting, the idea of serving the more senior professionals and creating opportunities for collaboration with other leading organizations like CGS. I want to go back and double click on something that you mentioned, Fran, about the folks who are leaving the profession. We see that in publications. The Chronicle of Higher Education has been vocal about this, that there are folks who are simply looking to leave enrollment management. And that creates challenges, I assume, for NAGAP and other organizations. Why do you think that is, from your perspective as senior enrollment leaders at your respective campuses? What's going on for enrollment management today? What do you think NAGAP can do to address it?
I think obviously the pandemic kind of fast forwarded it for a lot. I for many of us, you never had the opportunity, at least before the pandemic to kind of work from home, work-life balance. And I think a lot of individuals within the profession discover that during the pandemic, although challenging times, really took a step back. And so I think it prompted many individuals who were probably maybe a little bit closer, maybe to retirement and those types of things. And they said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I think coming out of the pandemic and going back into what was the new normal, I think it was a reset for a lot of individuals. And then the pressures that institutions are under now, I think has really shed some light for a lot of individuals who said, you know what, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. I mean, those are some of the things, at least I was hearing from some colleagues who were just like, 60 hours a week I'm putting in, I don't get paid enough. I've realized that I can have a better work-life balance, et cetera, I think has really propelled a lot of individuals to kind of leave the profession.
Well, and this specific topic is something that we're covering in our research partnership with EAB. We've looked at this specifically for the last 3 years, starting with the pandemic. The thing that's interesting that we'll be presenting for the first time here this week is the fact that the pressures and the stressors that our colleagues are addressing seems to be a little less. And those that were asked, they seem to be a little less likely to be looking at other opportunities. But the percentage of people that they know in their offices, their colleagues who are still looking or would be open to another opportunity is well over half. And the interesting thing is, and we don't get this deep into the research, and I don't have it right in front of me, but as we were preparing for this week, one of the things that we kind of said as a group is, did we just reset? Mm-hmm. Is this new norm, the pressure's just higher than it's ever been? This is just the level of tension that we're dealing with. The expectations for ever increasing enrollment goals, in spite of the fact that many of us work on campuses that we know we can't reach those goals. Is that the new norm as well? And we've always expected higher goals. We've always expected, the pressures. Enrollment management is just filled with that. But the stress, as you look at how our colleagues are responding to these questions, it's off the charts. And I think maybe for the last year, I think that a lot of people who have come into the profession, they're not yet at a point when they're responding to the survey question where they're saying, oh, okay, I'm ready to look. I'll be interested in this next year to look at the same survey results and see whether or not after 2 years, are they ready to move on? And that's a challenge for the industry. And it's a challenge, I think, for NAGAP to say, well, is there more that we can do to step into that to encourage our colleagues, lift them up? I've said for a long time that my role as a VP, and Fran is one of my mentors, I expect it to be more in the seat of strategic planning. Where I find myself oftentimes with my team is to be a cheerleader, just to encourage them to take one more step, that together we can get through anything. But there's sometimes it's really tough.
And that makes a lot of sense. And it leads me very neatly to the last question I would like to ask you both. Use your crystal ball as a VP for a moment and tell me what the future holds for NAGAP's role in the industry of graduate enrollment management.
Well, when you said crystal ball, I'm imagining my magic 8 ball, right? What role do we play in all of this? And I think we are steadfast in our commitment to professional development. And I think the more that we train our members and the more that we partner with our friends like you, who has been a good friend to NAGAP for many, many years, that will be the difference maker. That is the reason that we'll have 1,000 people here in Louisville this week, because people are desperate for answers. They're desperate to build a network. They're desperate for a friend who can hear a story and relate to it, because when they go home to their own campuses, oftentimes there's just loneliness, to be quite honest. I mean, it's not really as much about the profession as it is about feeling isolated. And I think the more that as an association we can open doors and open opportunities for connectedness, that will be the difference maker across the GEM industry.
Keith said that beautifully. I think the only thing I would add really is what I've noticed, even in just the past few years, the partnerships that we've had with, our vendor partners and so forth, it almost feels like they are kind of with us, and I think that's really, really important as we move forward. And one of the things I noticed kind of coming into this week and with friends that on social media, every single one is like, I can't wait to get to Summit. It's, that they're thirsty for that connection, just a time to breathe for a moment and get refreshed. And I think, you may hear that from other conferences, but it's different here. It really, really is different. And even when you walk through the exhibit hall, it's connecting with old friends in a lot of ways too.
And that's a beautiful place to leave our conversation. Fran Reed, Vice President for Enrollment Management and Marketing at Neumann University, and Keith Ramsdell, Vice President for Enrollment Management and Marketing at Ashland University. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ray.
The Mastering the Next podcast is a part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea, and feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Artis Cadieux, J.C. Bonilla, Mallory Wilsey, Brendan Henkel, Brian Gross, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.